Hi, and welcome back to Inside the Arts. Ryan Quinn here. We've been chatting a little bit with Rick Lang about some of his fantastic oil paintings, a lot of them ocean and shoreline based. We during the break we got to swap out three of them, brought in three new ones that we're going to discuss here. And Rick, why don't we start with this one in the middle here? What's the title of this one?
This one's called Almost There.
Almost There.
It's an acrylic painting. It's one of the earlier paintings that I've done.
Mm-hmm.
And one of those days you're walking to the beach, you got the backpack, you got the chair, you got the bags, you got all that stuff with you, and you realize you still got a long way to go. So I took a couple of pictures of that, and when you think thousands of people walk across these boards over the sea walls and getting onto the beach, you just don't see that picture very much. So I took one and said, let me see what I can do with it.
It's great. I noticed here too. You even have the sign in there. What would that would have, like the beach tags required sign and all that?
Yeah, when I paint, I try to keep it as real as possible. I mean, I don't really edit out a lot of things.
Right.
And this, you'd be surprised at the number of signs to get onto the beach.
Mm-hmm.
I don't take them down, but I don't make them all legible because quite often they'll change the signs. Some of the other details I kind of leave out too. There's trash cans and some other things where I try to remember to leave them out unless they're an integral part of the painting. Typically they're not, but this particular painting I really enjoy because of the level of detail in here with this. You have the snow fences and all the shadows going with the snow fences and the dune. And what I get the most comments about is the wood grain on this particular part. One of the things that I learned while painting this is that the color green there's no such thing as a little bit of green. If you just do a little dab, it becomes very green. So I spent a great deal of time getting that color to be a softer green, where it's almost tan. So. And with the wood grain, you were able to work through all those kind of things. But that was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun trying to replicate, fresh wood along the beach.
Yeah, it's definitely something I could not do at all. And also with the shadow there, as you have the light shadow, is incredible. And then I noticed up here, Rick, one little bird.
Yeah,
there's another one over there too.
When I started, I tried to make it a point to put a seagull somewhere in the paintings, and then it just I started painting things where it became impossible. But it's always a fun little game to find the little bird in there. Sometimes they're there, sometimes they're not. When you go to the beach, you'll usually see a bird. It's just a matter of how close and what he's after.
If it's taking your sandwich or not. That's right. That's great. And the title again?
Almost There.
Almost There.
This one is almost
now,
there.
Rick, do you have a website or anything that people could maybe go to if they're interested in purchasing these? Or
Yes, I do. My website is www.sandandwaves.com.
Sandandwaves.com.
All the paintings are there. They're available in different size prints so that you can take advantage of having those hang on the walls whenever you want them.
Cool.
And that's 24/7. That's my favorite store. It's whenever the internet's open.
That's right, which is always very good indeed. All right, this next painting I wanted to discuss this one a little bit here, Rick. What's the title on this one?
This one's called Hazy Horizon.
Hazy Horizon.
It's one of my more recent paintings. I was at the beach not too long ago, and there was a fog bank rolling in, and I was just kind of like looking out there and saying, this is one of those days you don't see the sky and the water, and you don't see where they blend together. So I started taking some pictures for some ideas, and there was just enough sunlight to come in through the clouds that you can see some good reflection off of the water.
Yeah, I noticed the real emerald color that's in the waves there.
And the fun part about this one is you can sort of see waves starting, but maybe not see waves starting. They're out there. You can hear them. You can sense that they're there, but they're so far into the fog that you really can't delineate where it's starting and where it's coming from.
Absolutely. Absolutely, that's great. And like, about how long does it take you to do a painting, say, of that size of the Emerald Ocean there?
Typically, the paintings that I do take 30 or 40 hours. Some of them are quicker than others. You know, Hazy Horizon doesn't have a high level of detail like some of the other paintings, like this other painting here.
Right.
So it goes a little quicker than that.
Huh.
And you know, a couple hours a day, a couple of days a week,
Right.
and it's a very, you know, I relax and I go to sleep very soundly afterwards.
Very good.
So it's a lot of fun.
That's great. That's great. All right, Rick. Next, we're going to look to my right here, which this one really made me chuckle. It's not often you see a snowman on the beach.
No.
And what do you call this one, first of all?
That one's called snow cone.
A snow cone?
When you go to the beach, you're going to get a snow cone. However, I'm not sure that's what you were expecting.
That's great.
The opportunity presented itself rather frequently in the past year with snow at the beach, and I was strolling around taking some pictures on the boardwalk and ran across this particular snowman with a nice backdrop of the fishing pier, and I said, well, you know, I really don't have a choice. I have to take a picture and I have to paint it.
Definitely.
As you look down the boardwalk on that day, there was an army of snowmen. And because snow is so rare down here,
Right.
the kids in Ocean City all of them must have run up to the boardwalk to immediately build snowmen because they were everywhere. And then I had the opportunity recently at one of the shows where I met the builder of the snowman. So
Did you?
She was rather enamored by it.
Oh, that's
saying,
great.
My goodness, I built that snowman. I guess there's some identifying features there that only she would know. But
Yeah. Well, maybe that was the angle that it was with the pier behind it. It was facing that way.
I think it's just because it's a very well-known street, and
Right.
and maybe that was her blue plastic bag as a bow tie. I'm not sure.
Oh, that's what they used.
The hard part with painting snow is you're really not painting white. You're painting the shadows, and
True.
kind of struggled with this one for a while because you know your mind says paint the snow, paint the snow, paint the snow, and everything's white. So you end up having to think in reverse and paint the shadows, and that's what really gives it its depth and texture and those kind of things.
Gotcha. Yeah, it seems tricky.
It
Well, it's the
is.
same thing like when you do with the clouds, right? Because it's like they're white, but it all depends on the shadow and the blending.
With the clouds and with water.
Yeah.
When you're painting water, you're actually painting the opposite of sky because you're actually looking at the reflection.
Right.
You know, it's kind of like you hold a glass of water, it's clear. Well, I've gone to the stores, I can't find any paint called clear, so I decided that you have to paint the reflection of the sky.
Gotcha.
And that's where it really adds the feeling that you're actually there. So, and with the snow, it's the same thing. You're painting the opposite of the snow. You're painting the shadows, and
Right.
it gets kind of tricky.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, thanks for sharing with us, Rick. I appreciate it. We're going to take a quick time out. We'll come on back. More Inside the Arts right after this. All right. Hi, and welcome back to Inside the Arts. Ryan Quinn here with Rick Lang. We've been discussing his paintings. And Rick, we were chatting during the break. And one question I had for you, what kind of advice could you give, say to anyone, because you started painting later in your life. You didn't start as a young child. So, you know, what if someone wanted to get into painting? What advice would you give to them to get started, or where to start?
Well, I'd say just, you know, not to quote a commercial, but I would say just do it. If you like painting, to do it. There's different types. Go to one of the hobby stores and the craft stores and pick up a kit. You can pick up a starter kit, and it has the basic colors and it has the basic tools you need, different brushes and things along those lines. Find a particular item you want to paint, whether it's a house or a tree or a barn or a beach or a snowman or anything like that, and kind of play around with it. When I started, I had a lot of photos that I just really enjoyed, and I had a very difficult time trying to figure out how to scale them. So I called up a friend of mine who paints murals, and I said, now if somebody knows how to scale a painting, it's somebody who paints the side of a building with a mural. And the advice that you gave me was get an overhead projector. and they have little projectors that you can get at the craft stores or the kind from school or
Right.
from other places. And so I took the photo, put it on a piece of cellophane, and put it on an overhead projector and projected it against the canvas. From there, I was able to sketch out kind of the depth and some of the details that you would need to do to paint. So like, for example, in Almost There, I was able to sketch out where the particular vertical boards are, where the horizontal boards are. So I was able to get that depth built right into the canvas.
Gotcha.
And then from that point, I call it coloring, if you're just kind of coloring, with crayons.
Right.
So you just kind of eyeball it and match it as best you can. But without a doubt, is just get some paints and do it. And
There you go.
you can paint with whatever media you like, and try different ones out, because different ones have different characteristics, and you may be more comfortable with others.
Right. One might fit you a little better, or one might be more difficult than the other. So that's good.
So it's it's certainly rewarding in a lot of different ways. I spoke with a woman at a show, and she had painted something years ago, and her daughter had said she's not allowed to leave the state. She's going to go. She wasn't allowed to leave the state without leaving that painting with her.
Wow.
And the mother, she said, well, it wasn't that great of a painting, but it was so special to her daughter. So
yeah, oh, it's very nice, very nice. Well, and what would you say, Rick? You've been in the circuit for a little bit here, quote unquote, the circuit, doing some art shows and things like that. How do you go about getting involved with those to display your work?
What I started doing was actually going to the different art center, the Millville, and talking to Millville arts folks, and as well as the art centers in Ocean City and the Cape May County, and find out how they do their shows. And there's an application process that's pretty straightforward. And then actually attending the shows to see what's there and talk to the different artists that are there. They all have a story of how they got started. They all know how to get these shows set up, and it can be as elaborate or as minimal as possible.
Great.
So I started, the first show I did, I had 5 paintings hanging on the side of a tent. It's a little different now.
Yeah, definitely. From the last one I saw, you had way more than 5 hanging. Very good, very good. Well, thanks for the advice, and thanks for coming on the show, definitely. I am a fan of your art and work. This wasn't just to have a guest on, as I actually really like this, and wanted to let all the folks know about you, and definitely be sure to check out Rick Lang on the internet at
www.sandandwaves.com.
Sandandwaves.com, and you can see there's another one on there, Rick, that I love with the seagull, and the sunset is behind it. If you go to the website, you'll know what I'm talking about. Go check it out, and let Rick know, send him an email or something. Let him know you're a fan. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Ryan Quinn. This is Inside the Arts, right here on QBC TV. Good night, everybody.